It's not really the fault of the press because the Byline Times came out with an article recently where they suggested that the UK government is funding GB News by buying advertising. They are the biggest advertiser on GB News, and basically the government itself is funding the hate against Harry and Meghan. The UK government is the biggest advertiser on GB News, which therefore means that the UK government is literally funding the hate between Meghan, I mean, hate against Meghan and Harry. And the thing is that, um, you know, I mean, why does that really surprise me? I mean, Charles is the head of state, so the government, the monarchy is a part of the government, right? And, they were leaking information, lies, misinformation, and truth mixed up together in a toxic brew about Harry and Meghan to the press so that the press could write this filth. And none of the government, the prime ministers, or any of those people have ever asked these tabloids and press operations to stop harassing Harry and Meghan. I think Richie Sunak came out and said, "Stop harassing Kate," and people were speculating about her cancer diagnosis. But at no time did he ever come out and say, "Stop harassing Meghan and stop harassing Harry." So the UK government, once again, according to the Byline Times, is the biggest advertiser on GB News and these hate sites and hate media who attack and harass Harry and Meghan every day. So speaking of pigeons, really, who really are the pigeons, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, listen, I am on my way to an exhibit, whatever you would call it, at the Atelier des Lumières, the light gallery. It's a gallery where they have this amazing exhibition on Van Gogh and some things, a Japanese exhibition, also mixed up with that. And so I'm going to check that out. So listen, see you after the jump, okay? You guys, I know you're here to see Harry and Meghan content, okay? But I thought you'd also like this exhibition, which, I mean, you have to see it in person, but I thought I'd share it with you anyway. So yeah, okay. That was nice. That was very, very riveting. I really liked it. It's the Atelier de Lumière. If you're in Paris, you should check it out. It's in the 11th district of Paris, just behind Gare de l'Est, you know. So you can take the bus 46, which is what I took, and now I'm back on the bus because I've got to get home and try to get myself something to eat. But I think I'll stop, and of course I have stopped, and let's just look at some fruits and veggies or something I can buy to make lunch, when I get back home. But anyway, if you're still with me, I know it was a long pause with the museum and you're here to get the Harry and Meghan content. And like I said, it's the UK government who is funding GB News according to Byline Times, which is something that you need to analyze. I mean, what does that even mean, right? And so they spew their hate and they spew their lies. Just yesterday or the day before, they told us how Harry wants to come back and he's conferring with friends. And, I guess nobody really wants him back because Harry has to apologize. And then The Guardian came out yesterday refuting all of that because I think Harry had his people contact The Guardian to say, look, I mean, this is all propaganda. I never discussed coming back with William or with anybody. And I have no intentions of returning to royal duties. I'm happy in my life as it is here in Montecito with my wife and my children. And so this is a false narrative. So, he had to come out and basically refute all of that. And, these people, they have no shame, basically. I mean, they just make up news, fake news, misinformation, and, sell it because they're angry with Harry because he didn't give them the heads up that he was, in fact, going to be in the UK for that funeral. So now they're going to get back at him by keeping him in the headlines, but in a sort of tongue-in-cheek, passive-aggressive, wicked way, to say that Harry, wants to come back when they know darn well that he doesn't, and they know that it will irritate him. I mean, the issue that, what they're trying to do is just to get under his skin and irritate him. And I think they're also trying to do a divide and conquer with him and Meghan. So they're basically like, oh, we want Harry back, bring Harry back home, but Meghan can stay in Montecito with his children. I mean, they continue to openly disrespect his marriage, and they're doing that to get under his skin, not to get him to come back. Mind you, they're not interested in having him back because they can attack him no matter where he lives in the world. So they don't need to have him back, but they're just saying that to just get under his skin and get him irritated because, he outplayed them with the funeral of his uncle. And so they're ramping up also on another side of this. They're ramping up this narrative that Harry is Meghan's spare, which is so irritating. It's a divide and conquer technique and strategy. They want to irritate Harry and make him insecure about his relationship, his marriage, his position as the man in the marriage. It's like they're attacking his manhood now because they don't know what else to do to get him. So now that he's like Meghan's spare, so ridiculous. I mean, there are 3 spares in the UK right now, and that will be George, Charlotte, and Louis, right? Harry is literally no longer the spare. He's literally no longer the spare because he was basically pushed out when William decided to have 3 kids. I mean, Harry's no longer the spare. There was a time when Harry was the spare, and that time was when there was a Queen Elizabeth, and King Charles was then the Prince Charles. He was the heir in waiting, and then he had William and Harry. William is the second heir apparent, and well, Charles was next in line. William was the heir apparent, and then Harry was the spare. But obviously that's no longer the situation. Harry is literally no longer the spare. Harry wrote his book Spare after his position as spare was no longer at issue because William has 3 children and they are now the spares, right? Or if you want to say that George is the heir apparent after William and Charlotte and Louis are the spares, but they are effectively now the spares. If something happens to Charles and William becomes king anytime soon, and then God forbid, I'm making a Harry American sandwich, you guys. How appropriate, right? I'm making like with avocado. I'm thinking avocado. Well, first I'm going to start with this garlic and just crush up the garlic, and then I'm going to sort of saute it in some butter, and then I'm going to saute it in some butter, and then I'm going to I'm going to slice up this avocado that I have, and some spinach, and yeah, it's going to be really, really delicious, I hope, right? But it's a Harry's American sandwich. So yeah, anyway, I digress. So yeah, as I was saying, Harry is no longer the spare. Okay, that looks good, doesn't it? It's yum, 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 baby. Harry's no longer the spare. It's such a ridiculous narrative. At this point, they need to be talking about George, Charlotte, and Louis because they are the next in line. They are the spares. The headache now is on them. The toxicity now is between the siblings. The total, bad parenting is now on William and Kate if they allow the same dynamic that occurred between William and Harry to occur with their 3 children. But yeah, Harry's no longer the spare. But using this argument that Harry's the spare and somehow that he's Meghan's spare, I mean, this is all just to irritate Harry and to get under his skin and divide and conquer Harry and Meghan. I mean, that's all that's meant to do, to make him insecure in his manhood. Because, I mean, as modern as we are in the world, I mean, there are very few men who will not admit, if they're truthful, that they still want to feel like the man in the family, whatever that even means at this point, right? Because we have done such a good job, I think, of, turning men into, handbag holders. You see all these men walking around with their handbags and, they're just proud of it. And who did that? I think it's women who did that. We want equality, and equality is good. We should have it, but it comes at a cost. So yeah, there are men who are going to be insecure about their manhood in the relationship and so on. But I don't see Harry as being one of those men who's conflicted about his role in that relationship. I mean, he's not a spare to Meghan. So I wish they would just, stop. Anyway, listen, let me go enjoy my sandwich, you guys. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye.